Wait,
All right,
so you all knew each other's answers?
Yes. Did you not know that?
No. Which actually proves my point. I'm killing it.
It sounds more like the question was, give me 17 reasons why Goku's a dumbass. Your argument.
Not a chance. Because meow.
The competitive nature definitely agrees. It's
Wait,
showing
how?
the...
He's getting there! He's getting there! Let him say his final arguments! I'm sorry, this round is pissing me off.
Plot Armor! Hello and welcome to this episode of Plot Armor, the show where we fight tough but we fight fair to answer stupid questions about movies you love, hate, or have never heard of. My name is Caleb Janssens, your host today, and I'm joined by a wide variety of lovely people that I all love. So let's jump into the introductions for guests right now. Colette, don't get too excited, but
Why?
you are number one on my list.
Yeah, I'm the rose
Only
amongst
because
the
this is the
thorns.
way the list says I have to go. From red carpet interviews to fashion that stuns, she's bold, she's brilliant, and she's never outdone. Give it up for Colette!
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm ready to kick some asses.
Well, I'm sitting down. Good luck getting your foot there.
I'm nimble. I'll get around.
And then next, he's got dice in his palm and the name of a winner. If you fighters aren't careful, he'll roast you for dinner. Give it up for Caleb! Hi guys, yeah, let's get started, shall we?
Oh, you just want to...
take it in.
You also want to kick my ass. You're gonna get your break.
This is the Caleb couch, and that makes my heart very happy. Then finally, we have the king of the quiz and the board game champ, bringing brains and pressure like a creative stamp. Give it up for Vincent!
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's awkward when you write those for yourself. I mean, couldn't have put it better myself.
Damn, whoever's writing this, I like his brain
Accurate.
a lot. But let's jump into the rules. The rules are simple. 3 contestants face off over 5 debate topics. Each round runs 10 minutes, and the host awards a point to the most passionate debater, the one with the sharpest argument and fiercest rebuttal. After 5 rounds, the top 2 scorers enter the speed round showdown. 5 rapid-fire questions with just 20 seconds to argue and 15 seconds to rebut. The overall winner gets crowned main character of the episode, while the other gladiators fade into obscurity as the extras.
Me when fighting with my wife. Sorry, continue. I have 20 seconds.
But before we jump into the arguments and talking about how we fight with our wives, 2 of which are behind the camera right now.
My one wife and my other wife.
I would like to say thank you to the one wife, the wife of my friend Vincent, otherwise known as Tibberdeen, for basically bringing us these wonderful
Tibberdeen.
mocktails. Do you know what Tibberdeen means?
No.
It's Afrikaans. It means to serve, and that's the name of her company.
Oh, nice.
So this flavor here, which is delicious by the way, is grape refresher. And I want to know if I'm allowed multiple of these already, because that is bloody delicious.
What,
So
wives? Because that's apparently the theme. Excuse me, could I get another one?
well, we are not here to talk about wives. We are here to talk about movies, and we are going to jump into the first question. As viewers, we love to rant and rave about the heroes of our favorite stories, but rarely do the sidekicks get much love. Well, today we recognize them as we want to ask you, who is the best movie sidekick of all time? Vincent, we'll start with you.
Well, Caleb, seeing that my face is frequently found on this channel, I'd like to think that I'm a little bit of an expert on being a sidekick.
Wow. Humble brag.
My answer is one that not a lot of people would expect. It is Gromit of Wallace. So Wallace is the hero and Gromit is the sidekick, which is a perfect example of a sidekick who never seems to miss. If you've watched the multiple shorts put out by Wallace and Gromit and then the 2 feature films, you'll realize that the story usually goes as follows. Wallace, naive but brilliant inventor, does something stupid and Gromit has to come and save the day. He does this without betraying his friend, but he does it thoroughly and makes sure that at the end of the day everyone is happy. And I mean, I could end with saying that what is a better sidekick than man's best friend? So he a dog and he a good sidekick.
Okay, Colette, can you tell us who your favorite sidekick is?
Yeah, I think opposite to Vincent actually, because and we were discussing this earlier on, and it will be Dragon Ball Z. No judgment from anyone. And simply because we all know exactly what the arc in the story is. But there's Goku, and then there's Piccolo. And who doesn't like a demon becoming a good person? He's pretty much the antagonist for the entire series and in the films as well. But the fact that you can let someone who was trying to kill you your entire life train your son and then literally become your best friend, you steal his super energy and his power from him. He quite literally puts you in his place, tells Goku, you're being a dick, but you know what, everyone likes you, continue on your path, and I will take all the hate because I'm Piccolo. I'm green, I'm mean, and I'm a demon.
Damn, okay. And then other Caleb, or the one who shares the couch with me. What is your answer?
All right, well, let's start this off easy enough. I'm going to need some audience participation here.
Okay.
So, who here has a friend? that
Me!
they would
I do!
You do?
Was that too enthusiastic?
Wait, you do?
They even let us finish,
Okay.
let us finish the sentence.
So, who here has a friend that they would do anything for?
Mostly me.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about
But
this.
90% of things I would do.
And you don't have.
I'm letting him finish.
No, answer.
I'm letting you finish.
Oh, okay, 100%. Now, who here has had a fight with that friend?
Never.
I call lies. Anyway, moving on from that. So, now imagine having a friend who you've essentially told to go... I'm not going to make you guys bleep it out, but go grind a cactus, let's say, for a smarmy little thing that has been around for, let's say, 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And this friend still comes back, carries you up a bloody mountain, which, all power to him, I'd struggle hiking without a person tied onto my back.
Your friend sounds weak.
I'm sure. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I won't mention something. Getting up a mountain filled with lava. So not only is he risking his life, he's helping achieve the goal.
Can I answer this question? Is it Sam?
No shit! There we go, yes!
Sam. That's a weak man.
And then on top of that all, still, after the mission has been achieved, not taking any of the glory.
Okay, well, fight it out. You guys have made very good opening
I
arguments.
have to say, on Piccolo, it sounds more like the question was, give me 17 reasons why Goku's a dumbass. Your argument.
Not a chance, because Goku needs to be a good person.
Okay, how...
Piccolo takes it on himself, literally leaves his entire clan, his people, to be with an entirely different race. It kind of sounds like South Africa or America. It's very current in this moment in time. And he leaves them. He still hates Goku, he really does. But he does everything in his power to be there for him, support him, even against his own natural instinct, being a demon, and he's still there.
However, what I would argue is that...
Sam
Piccolo...
is a weak...
No, well, let me finish my statement here.
man.
Let me finish.
Yes.
Okay, Piccolo starts off as a demon. He has full intention to kill Goku.
Yes.
Then he becomes quite self-serving in that he goes, oh, your son can clearly mess up someone. Mm-hmm. I'm going to kidnap him.
Don't you think that arc is amazing? Like, Piccolo just seems like he has a lot of trauma, and we can all relate to Piccolo. We've all
Don't
had
get me wrong, he has trauma.
haven't we?
But by the
So
time he becomes a good guy, he's kind of irrelevant.
But I have to add to this, because I think you do a great job at exploring his arc, and I think his arc is good. I agree with you. He's not a sidekick. Piccolo, ask anyone, what is he in the good part, like his good guy part of the mentor, not sidekick.
However,
If you say Goku, people say Krillin, not Piccolo.
or
Do they
Vegeta,
even?
but
Yeah.
Well, not even. Not even.
however, addressing the sidekick issue,
Wallace and Gromit,
Gromit is
hardly
not a
is
sidekick.
anything to think about.
it's Wallace. You go to watch Wallace and Gromit, not Wallace the movie.
Yes, but who's the most famous sidekick of all time? Batman and Robin. It's in the name. It's an inseparable
Yes, but
sidekick.
you go to watch a Batman film. It is set apart.
Frodo.
Batman.
Can I
Frodo's
say
first
something?
movie.
I can't even remember what Wallace and Gromit look like. That's how unmemorable
do this.
the two of
Okay,
them are.
Like, what I have to say
Look,
about
don't know how to
watched
take
it,
that
but it's
part.
so
I don't know
unmemorable.
how to
I
take
can't
that
even
part.
remember. That's how...
about Lord of the Rings. The problem is, there's like 11 other sidekicks in that movie.
I'll give you that,
And he's
yes.
not even the best one. Yes, they split off and then he shares, but he wasn't even supposed to be part of the fellowship. He just happened to be hiding in the garden when he was associated with it.
However, if you look at it, if Sam was not there, Frodo would have failed multiple times. He would have put on that
And
ring.
then let him fail, because you have to fail to become stronger.
He
Point
technically
blank
does
period.
fail at the end. However, if not for where Sam gets him to, the entirety of Middle-earth would have been conquered by
Could
Sauron.
a good sidekick be one that cries so damn much?
I don't remember.
Because he's, Mr. Sticky, the whole time. Oh, Mr. Baggins.
I'd be worried about your friendship.
I want more bread.
I'd be worried about your friendship then, eh? I have a feeling he might push you into the mountain.
It's a good thing that in our friendship, Vincent has already
okay,
said he is the
it's-
sidekick, because I do cry a lot.
Me personally, I actually like Sam, but I do think he's a bitch baby. I'm sorry, you're
Yeah.
going to have to bleep that out, but it's the only best way I can describe Sam. Literally, if Sam gets a print prick, he's crying.
He's a better friend than he is a sidekick. And Piccolo's a better mentor than he is a
However,
sidekick.
okay,
And
this
Wallace
Gromit
and
is-
Gromit is unrememberable.
grabbing
On
my
that
notes.
note,
Yes, no, I will say
So,
about
according to
Go for it.
the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of a sidekick, a person's assistant or close associate, especially one who has less authority than that person in achieving a goal.
Caleb, you know what? Thank you for that Oxford Dictionary.
The
meaning.
Gromit is the only person of the three that would classify as an assistant because the task being made is inventing,
However, he's
and
a name
Gromit
character.
helps invent.
He's a name character.
Yes, because Robin is the most famous sidekick of all time. And
Yes, but you
Batman
call it
and Robin
No, but it's Batman.
and Robin. There's a movie called Batman
Yeah,
and
there's a
Robin.
Batman and Robin, but let's be honest here, that's barely a film.
Would you watch Frodo and Samwise the movie? No.
I mean, sure, why not? It won how many Oscars?
No, but that's irrelevant.
No, how many
You know
Oscars
what?
did it
On
win?
that note, that's a great point.
Okay, I would like to say this. Caleb, make your final statements, but make your point, but roll it into your final statements.
Okay, sure. Okay, let's start off with Piccolo. He started as a bad guy. By the time that he kind of became a good guy, he kind of became irrelevant because Vegeta showed up. And to be honest, Vegeta is the better character, but that's personal bias. On top of that, Gromit's not a sidekick. Gromit's the main character. He's a name character. Case in point, you go to an attorney, you go to, let's say, I'm going to name freaking...
Johnson and Johnson.
Exactly. You're going to go meet the guys in charge.
Colette, let's hear your final argument.
I disagree with Caleb saying that Piccolo is, forgettable towards the end. Because if you think of a cheetah, you think of a grown man crying like a baby. Thus, he cannot be a sidekick, which means Piccolo needs to take that authority, which he does. He's not a bitch baby. He trains Goku's son, and he's there whenever he needs him. Ergo, Wallace and Gromit, forgettable. That is my logic.
Okay, I would like to hear
point
Vincent's
on
final
that.
argument.
So, on Sam, like I've stated, he's a brilliant friend, and he does what a friend's supposed to do, which coincidentally makes him have some sidekick attributes, but does not fit the very description you read. With Piccolo, he was way better as a villain character, and then if you split it into the whole sidekick thing, it's like you're splitting his memorability between sidekick and villain, and honestly, a lot of people would lean villain. I know there's a lot of people that would like the sidekick mentor side of his arc more, but the thing is, it's split. When it comes to Gromit, there's no other take. There is only best sidekick ever, most effective. Let me finish. And on top of that, no. Everyone finish their statement.
Finish your point.
I was told two things. First of all, it's not memorable. Memorability was not a feature in the question. And second of all, the point I was given is he's not a valid sidekick because his name is in the thing. And then I rebutted it by telling you that his name doesn't have to be the thing. Last statement, he does all this without having a mouth. Everything with his eyebrows. That's a good sidekick.
Still struggling to remember what Wallace and Gromit looks like.
Okay, so this is
I think I
The
do
dirtier
remember.
the better.
the dirtier the better. So I would like a little Easter egg for people who are watching at home. I'm going to show them my socks. Colette, you have to show your socks as well.
I know that word. Okay.
This wasn't planned.
Oh, really?
We are both wearing Piccolo socks. Like,
That is how determined I am.
Isn't that just green Mahatma Gandhi?
So that's not an indicator as to who won, but I do think it is just a great
That is
little.
cool.
That is a very cool little coinky dink. I would like to say that this is going to be a very loud, very potentially
And
aggressive
difficult
episode.
to judge, I imagine.
Yeah, no. So already I can say this is going to be a very difficult episode to judge. I love Piccolo, and I think everyone did a good job though of basically determining why he doesn't fall into the sidekick category, especially later on when he becomes more of a mentor, especially to Gohan. So for that reason, Colette, as much as it breaks my heart, I'm not going to let you win this round.
It really sucks, doesn't it?
It really sucks. Something that is also very interesting, since apparently like Colette is related in every way, shape or form to this argument, she also loves Samwise. You
I
ever?
do.
Yeah.
I really do. But it does not
Is that-
change the fact that I still think that Sam is a bitch, baby. I've literally got a lot
That
of
wasn't the question,
I know,
though.
I know,
It doesn't need to
but
be a
it's
bitch, baby. It's a sidekick.
I know.
But I would like to say, I think when you brought out the Oxford Dictionary definition, it actually sealed the deal for Vincent, which is very rare. That like a point you raise makes me go, oh wow, you're kind of proving his point. And so for that reason, I am very sorry, Caleb, because the moment you pulled out the notes, I was like, oh, Vincent's getting it.
Wait,
okay.
Frodo's assistant Samwise doesn't get it.
But either way, so the first point goes to Vincent. Well done.
But nothing's a guarantee.
But nothing
going
is.
forward.
This is going to be a rough episode.
not
So
scared.
I am. I'll be.
let's move on to episode question 2.
Episode question 17.
We all remember how Academy Award after Academy Award, Leonardo DiCaprio edged closer and closer to that Best Actor Oscar
laughing 'cause he said edged.
Yeah, he said edged multiple times, closer and closer to that Best Actor Oscar until he finally got it for his role in Revenant almost 10 years ago. But with all the amazing roles he's played over the last 3 decades, we ask you, which role should have won Leonardo DiCaprio his Oscar? Colette, can you start for us, please?
Why? This is literally the worst one.
This is what your name... Ladies first,
This
and this
is
is
the
where your name is
worst.
on the top of the notes.
Stand by your hold your ground.
No, I'm not scared about my answer. I'm concerned. I'm just actually scared about the debate.
This one's gonna be chill.
I don't know if that's a
Okay.
compliment, Vincent.
So, my choice was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I say this particularly because the fact that it's Tarantino's film to cinephiles and basically saying, I'm making cinema again in 2019, for me was just like a bold statement. And then adding Leo into a role where he pretty much plays every single role he's played in his entire career almost, and then basically almost coming to like this entire arc to be like, okay, Leo, we forgive you for all your crap. Sorry that you didn't win the other Oscars. You should have actually won this particular Oscar for this film. And that is my stance on which film Leo should have won an Oscar for. But also like considering the ones that he did lose for, the contenders he was up against were better. And he just needed to lose to crush his ego.
You go, girl. You go, girl. Okay, Caleb, your answer.
All right, so I chose Django Unchained. Reason why is ultimately, so if you go watch Django Unchained, brilliant film. Now, the casting in there is phenomenal. However, this is one of the few films where Leonardo actually stands out to the point that there's still memes about it going on today. And let's be honest here, everyone knows about the scene where he actually cuts his hand on glass and keeps in character, which if any of you have ever acted before, you know it is incredibly difficult not to break character when they make a joke, never mind when you injure yourself. Also, on that, it is probably out of the 3 options, the most profitable, sitting with 449.8 million worldwide. That is gross. So, out of all of them, very funny. I would not complain, though, if I had that much money in my account. So, it is also the most far-reaching of the 3.
And Vincent.
Thank you.
The Oscar music's
Thank
playing
you
now.
for
You're
doing
gonna
your
have to.
homework.
Okay, so my answer is controversial if you know me. So I'm little Vincent history. I don't like The Wolf of Wall Street. Not because it's a bad film, but it's too effective in what it does. And I'm so disgusted by it, I can never finish it. Because it so accurately displays this totally godless, animalistic man who descends into anarchy. And I would not have been as disgusted by it and as put off and as anxiety-ridden as I am from watching it if it wasn't portrayed as excellently as it was by Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. So his performance in that is excellent, and it is layered. And what I mean by layered is he starts as your everyday guy just trying to kind of figure life out, trying to figure a way to take care of his family and get a solid job. And he ends up as this demon man who is money hungry, lusts around and is full of drugs and is scum of the earth. So there's this layer of performances that take place over the course of the film, and I think it was the most effort he put into a role. You could see his heart was in it. It was at the peak of his acting career, at his best, and I think for that reason he should have won the Oscar for that film.
Fight it out.
Okay, who's thought? Oh, okay, so she's going straight to notes. All right, that's fair. I'm going to address The Wolf on Wall Street. So, don't get me wrong. It's a good film. In actual fact, all three films are really good.
All good.
However, in that film, he's not the most memorable piece of it. And I mean this nicely, not from a perverted sense. Margot Robbie is. Let's be honest here. He's kind of falls more into the background. Especially if I've watched the film recently, because...
Really? Wow.
I think I might have raised her point, or she's about to start dishing back at me.
Wow. Okay. I would say the same about Django because, and I say this in both ends, brilliant as well, but his characters in both of them, they're just blending into the time and blending into the background. So he's playing a racist white supremacist dude in Django, surrounded by other racist white supremacists in Django. Wolf of Wall Street, he's a sex fiend on coke. That sounds like every other guy in Cape Town in like...
Okay, but how...
The point I'm trying to say is like, all to say, brilliant in all of those films, but for me, why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the best film that he should have won for was he does an amazing job of making you believe and go through all his character journeys. So when he's playing a cowboy or whatever, you believe him. When he's playing an assassin or whatever, you believe him. And having the actual like emotional intelligence to make me believe every single character in a film whilst filming a film, to me, is like still brilliant.
To that point, I must say, it is a bit pretentious to have an actor winning Best Actor for playing an actor.
Thank you. That's the point I was about to raise. He's playing himself.
It's a bit circle jerky, and on top of that, like I think
not necessarily.
Just saying, and both of you said this. Oh no, in Wolf of Wall Street, he disappears into the background. Sounds like a point. It is literally just not true. Like he's literally the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, but as the main actor, you should stand out.
No, but he absolutely does, and Margot Robbie could have been replaced, in all fairness, by any half-decent, sexy actress, and she would have played the same role, because that's all she is a sex icon in that thing. Which I don't
does not agree with that statement.
I don't like this movie and what it stands for, so I don't agree with the role that's been put there.
However, here's another problem that you have with bringing Wolf of Wall Street to the table. You haven't finished the film.
That's
you
true.
You have not finished the film.
Because of how good he does his job at making me feel that way.
That doesn't matter. The assignment was to
here's
know
something. I'm pulling a Hail Mary. I'm appealing to the host here. How can you give an actor who plays a role that's a glorified Red Dead Redemption 2 character? Because I was watching clips of it yesterday again just to remind myself of the performance, and
that's
I'm like,
a wild statement, Vincent.
No, he's like, just like that guy in that one side mission. Like he doesn't stand out from a multitude of, here's a white guy that just wants to get a job where he can say the N-word without...
Okay, here's my issue with that statement. Is that, first of all...
Roll this into your final arguments, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So, first of all, with that role, ultimately, you know what? you can't find anyone to draw it from. Unless you know a slave owner that's sitting in the US. While
I'm sure
Wolf
there
of
are
Wall
a few.
Street, there are plenty of traders who you can draw from.
Yeah.
You use Coke, who name it. Sorry to say it. As good as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is, he's playing himself. He's an actor, ultimately.
Well,
That's his job, is to pretend.
And he does a good job at being an actor in multiple roles. Can you turn into a different version of yourself in T-minus 5 seconds? No, 10 versions of yourself in T-minus. No, but be convincing.
Caleb, please just summarize your final point.
Basically having to draw inspiration from a place that no longer exists, and ultimately for an actor, that's 10 times more challenging than playing yourself or going over to Wall Street just down the road and figuring out, okay, cool, how do I play a coked up mental person? On top of that, ultimately, the pop culture influence that role has had.
I disagree with Caleb. I think that
She says that often to me.
it's very... Racism is still very clear, and it's everywhere. We just choose not to see it. And that film, all it does is basically show you what slavery looked like. We're just living in a modern slavery world. So he's pretty much also playing a role that I don't think he had to dig that deep into. Leonardo is a dick. He plays a character that's a dick. Same on this end. He's a dick, very good at playing a dick. Why I think... Even in all of Leo's flaws, I don't know him personally. I don't think I would want to. I still think that as a whole, and I think maybe that's why it might be different, is I enjoyed it as a Tarantino film, and I loved the fact that I could watch it for the love of cinema. And then choosing an actor like Leo, there could have been many actors that could have played it. He just executed all of the roles he's ever played throughout his entire career in that one film, and to me was like a chef's kiss to cinema. Not to say that these aren't good films, that to me, I still feel like he should have won an Oscar for that, irrespective.
Vincent's final argument?
There's no way that Margot Robbie overshadowed Leo DiCaprio more than Jamie Foxx did him in Django Unchained. And the same goes for your movie. I honestly think Brad Pitt did a better job than Leo did. And so I think...
At least you finished that.
Yes, I did. Because it's a better movie, not a better performance. And I think a successful actor is one who can make you feel something outside of the bonds of just this viewing experience. And in that, I felt overwhelmed by his performance to the point of having to turn it off. Like if you were faced by a real wolf, you wouldn't spend a lot of time with it, would you? You would run away.
I would be the wolf, Vincent. I would be the wolf.
Hey! He's gone!
I would be the wolf.
I'm just questioning how wolves are related to the movies.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Metaphor.
Metaphor, but it's okay.
Is that what it's about? I thought it just shows up later in the movie.
As the
Well,
host,
you'll have to finish it to find out now, won't you?
as the host, I feel like every time I want to give a point to somebody else, there'll be two people who want to murder me.
As you should be.
So this is, I feel so, like, if I was a referee in a rugby game, this would be one of those ones where it's like, ooh, I'm going to get curb stomped after this. So, and I want to know, out of everyone, I mean, out of all the questions, this was the one I was the most nervous for in regards to giving an answer. And all of you were actually very, very close to this. I think there is one winner, in my opinion, that kind of kept the lead from beginning to end in the way that person...
It's you. Because you can't say she.
But it might have been That was very clever from Vincent. Yes, Colette wins.
No,
okay,
I knew you were going to win.
I will unpack why. I think you actually unpacked his performance in a way that I've watched the movie recently and didn't realize the layers that there were to it that you brought to the table. You smashed Vincent with your
Yeah, you
pointer.
did, asshole. When you said why didn't you finish it? I was like,
If it wasn't for...
I didn't even think about that. I was like, but actually, how are you even still arguing if you haven't finished the film?
never surrender.
I will say, if I could give like an honorary point for epic takedown, it would have been you right now. But let's move on to question 3. One of film's most beloved art forms is the animated movie, dating back to almost a century ago with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs as the first full-length animated feature in 1937. There have been hundreds of studios since, launching their own unique style and vision for the craft. Today we ask you, Which animation studio has given the best films? Let's start with Caleb.
Okay, so my vote was Studio Ghibli. Now, do not get me wrong, I adore both picks that were also brought to the table. However, Studio Ghibli, the moment that you see their artwork, you know it's them. The music is phenomenal. The character arcs are done really well. Yes, okay, there are hits and misses here and there, but name a studio that there isn't. On top of that all, the dealing of adult
Themes.
themes, thank you, that was the word I was looking for, in a way that it kind of is a bit more grown up, but at the same time, a child can understand it, is incredibly well done. But as you said, it ultimately comes down to the moment you watch a Studio Ghibli film, you go, that's Studio Ghibli.
That's
Vincent.
Studio Ghibli.
That's Studio Ghibli.
That's Studio Ghibli.
Spirited Away by Studio Ghibli.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so mine, I like picking answers that are close to my heart because it's easy to fight objectively, but it's more fun to fight passionately. And from that perspective, my answer is DreamWorks. DreamWorks is a studio that made the movies that I fell in love with from an animated perspective. They're the movies that maybe they don't win the best animated film at the Oscars, but they're the movie you show your kid one day because you watched it as a kid. And it started for me with the first Shrek movie. To this day, that's probably one of my favorite animated movies of all time because it is just something that said, F you Disney, this is not how we're going to do animated movies. We're going to bring our own taste to it. And they brought this distinctive DreamWorks flavor to their films. And from that, they went on to innovate film. And I mean, when they came out with How to Train Your Dragon, I remember reading those books before the movie came out, and the books aren't great, to be honest. They're kind of childish. I was like, okay, well, let's see. And then they made A Boy's Dream with How to Train Your Dragon. And I'm just speaking from a boy's perspective. So then...
Do you get to call him they as well?
I will.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Then from that, they just went on to keep on innovating up to currently being the most innovative of all the studios with movies like Puss in Boots,
Puss in
Boots, The Last Wish, which is one of the best animated films to release in a very long time. I'll leave it at that for now.
Colette, can you please give us your girl's perspective?
Watch me
Ladies' choice.
say Disney and everyone will be like, no, mine's actually quite close to home with Vincent as well, but my studio was Pixar, and I say this because as an adult, I can still go back and watch Pixar films from way, way, way back and not feel like it's out of date and not feel uncomfortable. And I feel like Pixar films pull at the heart, and it's a matter of like quantity over quality, where DreamWorks, there's a lot of films you can talk about DreamWorks, but they just have a lot of films, so you can end up getting mixed up in the whole hullabaloo of all of it. But when I think of a Pixar film, I think, oh crap, I'm probably going to cry. And every Pixar film has just done a great job of doing that, and also relatable to adults and kids. And I think in terms of that, it's timeless. And I feel like Pixar, almost in a way, I might get bashed for this in the debate round, sets the standard for animation, and then everyone else kind of just like follows, trickling over, stumbling over their feet. Not to say that Pixar hasn't had its own misses, but I think that it sets the standard, reinvents itself, and everyone is like, oh, we should also do that. Let's make 6 films in Pixar standard, whilst Pixar just makes one. But for me, it's a quantity over quality thing. Hence Pixar.
Or do you
Quality
mean
over
quality over
quantity,
quantity?
The
Quantity over quality. Quality over quantity.
There we go. Fantastic.
Potatoes is potat.
I've
Say
never
fight,
heard that
say
one.
fight. Okay, I want to say something.
You go
Obviously,
first.
obviously, it goes without saying. Once again, none of us are arguing that's stupid, unless maybe you are. But we're arguing what
It's stupid.
yeah. But we are arguing best. So from that perspective, my honest answer, cards on the table. If we had this debate 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have said, oh, well done. Pixar wins, I walk away. The problem is we have to look at their body of work as a whole. And the problem with Pixar is they don't just have their ups and downs. They have a steady decline. And currently they just have Pixar made a good movie again. They're sequel spamming like crazy. If you go look at their lineup, more than 50...
Compared to DreamWorks, tell
but-
me if you remember Shrek 5 now.
I can't wait
You can't.
to
Tell
see
me
her
if
leave
you
the
even
house.
remember Puss in Boots, point blank period. Like, the problem with DreamWorks is they just hype on their own franchises, and then you get lost in the actual like story. So we remember.
I love getting lost in the
you
story. That's the
remember-
point.
No, yeah, you get lost in the story. Good story, not crap Kung Fu Panda 4 and like completely like predictable storyline. And then halfway through, you actually remind yourself, crap, I paid for this film. I paid to get lost in it, and now I feel like I've wasted 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back coming to the cinema.
I will agree with Colette on this.
Story 5.
Unfortunately, do not get me wrong, DreamWorks has done some phenomenal films. Prince of Egypt and Road to El Dorado were
Yeah,
brilliant.
but like, how long ago were those films?
Hold on, wait. Here's my point. How many flops has DreamWorks had?
A decent amount. I'll
More
concede
so
to
than
that.
most of the other animation
Probably the
studios.
same
yes or no?
amount of films that Pixar has, which is about maybe 20.
On top of that,
So if they're sitting at 40, you've done half the job.
on top of that,
basically.
Shrek 5 has now gone to the same animation style that Disney does all the time, which we'll address in Pixar in a second.
Thank you, Caleb.
Frozen pretty much has mainlined how the animation style is. And sorry to say, it was cool when it was made. Now it's
But
just
that doesn't
overdone.
apply to DreamWorks,
No,
I think.
go look at the trailer for Shrek 5.
No, but that's a sneak peek at something that we just honestly can't judge it. It's literally a teaser.
It's a sneak
If
peek,
we-
but then Shrek 5 now looks worse than Shrek did back in the day.
We have to look at swings and misses. I think of all our studios, your guys' studios play it safe. I feel like the studio of DreamWorks they are dreamers. That's why it's in the name, because they dream and they try harder. The biggest problem...
dreams don't
but
make money,
The
buddy.
biggest problem is with... Yeah, but we're artists, not financiers. The
However,
problem-
you have a company
the pro-
to run at the end of the day.
But-
DreamWorks, out of the lot,
The
has
problem
made
with
the
Studio
least amount
Ghibli-
of money and is going the brokest fast.
The problem with Studio Ghibli is they played the
Brokers,
most safe of everyone, because
And
every
the least
movie...
memorable in
Yes,
terms of
because
like
every movie
animation,
they
if you
release
think
feels
about
like
it.
an episode in a long-running TV
Okay,
show.
but you can
and on
still
top of that,
know that it's immediately that it is Studio Ghibli.
So you know
However-
immediately it's
Doesn't
Adam
mean that
Sandler.
it's the best-
Yes, okay, and
But it doesn't mean that,
that
it's
means
the
Adam
best
Sandler is
animation
unmemorable.
No, but
comes to be-
However, going
like-
to Pixar, Pixar's animation has now turned to more Disney style anyway.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Well, it's
Lightyear? Have
Disney-
you seen...
It is Disney
Turning
and
Red.
Pixar.
No, but
But-
Disney has
but-
just produced flop after flop. They've
Yeah, but that's
sunk
Disney.
Marvel and
That's-
Star Wars.
That's quite literally Disney. When you take Pixar at its core and what they do and the storytelling, they speak to the heart of people, realistically speaking. So if I'm watching a Disney film, let me put it this way. Let me help you. Okay.
Okay.
Studio Ghibli is like cider. You play it in the background, it's unrememberable. You won't remember it that much.
Cider?
Like a cider, like
yeah.
a soft drink,
Yeah.
like a Coca-Cola. You can drink it any
You've
day.
seen Studio Ghibli,
Watch,
right?
watch,
Wolf
watch.
Children,
What I'm saying
Spirited
is,
Away.
no, but it's quite literally to point what Vincent says. You guys played safe. Coke is safe. Thank you.
Would you say
go-
Pixar's less safe than
Hold, no,
DreamWorks?
but let me finish
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
point, Hal.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, then you go to DreamWorks. It's like a beer. Not everyone likes it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But also, you can look at it and be like, that was predictable. I know what beer tastes like. But then you
And
get
Disney
a,
is vodka.
then
You get
hold on,
blackout
wait.
drunk and throw up.
Then you get Pixar, which is like Sue Ellen's delicious mocktail.
Yo, alcohol free.
I call on this. No, they're brilliant.
You can mix
However-
it with. You can mix it with anything. It's tasteful. It might not be for everyone, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get something good in you, which is a vitamin, which there are fruits inside,
I call
and
brown
you will
medicine.
feel better afterwards. Whether you hated the animation, whether you love the story, with Pixar, it will be a 2
I
for
agree
you,
with you.
or it will be
I
a
will
1
say
for
this as
you. Wait, Vincent said he agrees with me. Let the man finish.
I want to agree with you.
I will let
And can
Vincent.
do
I will
my
let.
final
Vi-
argument?
this will be Vincent's
Okay.
final argument.
So I agree with you that Pixar is like a vitamin. You watch it because you have to, not because you want to.
No, you
And that's my final argument.
no, you watch it because you're not gonna wake up in the morning and be like, oh, let's put on Pixar. No, you gotta think about it. You
So-
gotta dwell on it because it's gonna pull at your heart.
I'll tell you the truth. A Pixar movie plays every morning in my house when I put on Luca to keep my son busy. When we sit down, we watch Bad Guys and we watch Puss in Boots and we watch, guess what? Wild Robot, one of the best animated movies.
Well, the only
objectively.
most memorable DreamWorks movie to date, maybe in the last, 10 years?
No, Wild Robot came out last year.
No, I'm saying the
Puss
only
in
movie
Boots.
to date.
Puss in Boots came out the year before.
Yeah,
It
Puss
was
in
not
Boots.
memorable.
Okay, wait.
Let me do
But
my
this is
final
the final
point.
point. Sorry, just because it's his final point.
Till this day, was yawning.
Okay, but with final
Let
arguments,
Vincent
I can-
finish his final argument without interrupting.
So with Pixar, it's rolling downhill and it's not looking like it's going to get better with Toy Story 5s and Inside Out 3s and whatever like that. With DreamWorks, it's movies you want to watch and that you look forward to watching, and they're still bringing out new types of films. There's nothing like Wild Robot out there, and that's something they just released. There's almost nothing like Puss in Boots out there, like the second one, and that was just released. They're showing innovation moving forward. The problem with Studio Ghibli is it fully relies on Miyazaki's vision, and the moment he dies, which is very soon,
Vincent knows this for a fact.
he's 85 or something like that. The moment he dies, where does it go from there? It is, I agree with you that when you see a Studio Ghibli movie, you know you're watching one, but the problem is you can't tell which one. So the issue with the studio is you're like, okay, wait, I just need to watch this for half an hour before I can tell which Japanese like fantasy fest I'm watching here. There's nothing that stands out. Final point being, DreamWorks feel like a book of stamps you've collected where every single stamp looks like a unique location you visited. And yeah, maybe Benoni wasn't that great, but guess what? I loved going down the Colorado River.
I'll say, Caleb, give us your final points, please.
All right. Ultimately, you know what? We're discussing the best animation studio, and as I said, love both animation studios. However, Pixar right now is relying on Disney. The guys who made Pixar what it is are no longer there. Their stories have, as Vincent said, just decreased, and it's not stopping. Ultimately, Disney has messed up Marvel and Star Wars, and they're very close to pretty much bankrupting Pixar anyway. Then going to DreamWorks, ultimately, they make more flops than they do hits. And don't get me wrong, some of those flops become cult classics. Road to El Dorado, brilliant film. However, in the box office, it flopped. They make less money than they actually should. Now, with your Studio Ghibli, you get the emotion, you get the story, you deal with the adult themes in a way that it actually makes it relatable to a child. On top of that all, you know what? The music's freaking brilliant. None of us has addressed it.
Yeah,
Yes.
because no one remembers it.
Oh, I would disagree quite heavily on
there?
that.
Please finish your point.
I would disagree quite heavily on that. My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, you name it.
Spirited Away.
I
love
mean,
that
okay,
song.
Vincent has been
I'm just joking.
Vincent, but yeah.
Why would you vindicate him?
All right, but yeah.
My final point
yes,
being,
thank
I
you.
think all studios great. Studio Ghibli, to me, again, I said it's like cider. I don't think it's as relatable as you think that it is. I don't think it's as memorable as you think it is. Yes, we might put it on the TV and we know what it is, but it's pretty much like white noise, to me, in my opinion. DreamWorks, like Caleb said, more misses than there are hits, but at the point that DreamWorks is where it is because of Pixar. Because Pixar set the standard for animation, and thus, yeah, maybe they might be at a very flawed space at the moment, but as a historical animation company, they set the standard, and they tell the stories, and they tell them from the heart. They're more realistic, they're more relatable, and I feel like they use very creative and innovative ways to do so. And that is my point. Thank you.
And I came up with so many extra points I wanted to say.
I say, don't worry.
When
Same.
you guys, I'm like, oh, but okay, it's fine.
I would like to say again, I keep going, oh, this was the hardest one to ever come up with a winner, but this one was bloody difficult. And I think why it was so difficult is because everybody, male and female,
They and them.
did a great job of elevating their studios and then a fantastic job of just pointing out why everyone else just sucks. But I think
Still great studios.
Yeah, what?
I love Pixar.
Pixar's awesome.
Inside Out, really?
and I think what Vincent did very, very well was also paint a very nice picture of what things are going to look like in the future. The unfortunate unfortunate thing is the future isn't the question that we are asking in the specific question. And I think that Caleb did a phenomenal job of also basically pointing out the uniqueness of Studio Ghibli or Ghibli.
Ghibli.
I will say Ghibli to be different.
Ghibli.
It's an Italian word means wind, I think.
But it's not an Italian company.
No, but
We are
so
not
what?
here to argue about the names of companies. We are here to argue
There's no
about
you
movies.
in plot armor. We're not American.
I am going to give it to Colette again.
Okay.
I was not
expecting.
expecting.
Because you guys are such fierce competitors. My heart is
Yeah,
pounding.
no.
I feel like I might not make
Every
it.
question, I'm like, whenever anyone can get a point, I'm like,
Yeah.
makes sense.
I will say this: as of right now, anyone can actually still win.
Yeah.
Anyone can actually still win. The reason I went with Colette, though, is I think throughout the entire question, she did the best job of continuing to elevate her art house above the two of yours, who were doing a great job of attacking and then not necessarily rebutting points that other people were bringing up. You did, but not to the effectiveness I think that Colette did.
In conclusion, I was effective.
Okay, question 3. Wait, that makes no sense.
That
Well,
was
we're on
three.
question
That
four.
was
Question
Best
4.
question.
I didn't scroll up. Question 4. Most movies are told in 3 acts: a beginning, a middle, and an end.
well done.
Thank you. And even if the first 2 acts are rock solid and good, a bad ending can spoil an amazing tale. So we ask you, what is the worst ending to a great film, starting with Vincent?
I don't know many films starting with Vincent, but I'll try this one. Okay, so I think if anything, if there was a question I felt I kind of had in the bag, it would be this one. So my answer is the movie that is currently ranked 231 on IMDb. So sounds far down, but there's a lot of movies, okay? So that's pretty high up.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And that is the original Wizard of Oz. I almost said Wizards of Waverly Place. The original Wizard of Oz.
That's how bad the ending was.
So I
Vindicated.
I like seeing this question as a contrast question in the sense of great movie versus bad ending. And I felt both are valid. And I thought, what is the movie that had the most contrasting good versus bad? And it has to be Wizard of Oz. It's name another movie from the 1930s, non-animated, that people still watch to this day, and that's still getting sequels and spin-offs. And you can't, well, almost can't name anything.
Fast and Furious, but I don't
Yeah,
think-
from 1937.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, well, I don't
but
think...
but it's a movie just to prove that it's still spoken of, it's beloved, and it's still seen very like as a beloved movie that people still watch. But then what happens at the end? She wakes up and realizes it was all a dream, which is famously one of the worst twists that a movie can do. It is a famous, bad, horrible decision to say it was all a dream at the end of the movie, nullifying the magical experience we just got and saying, oh no, but it was about the lesson she learned along the way. That's lame. Barbie can learn lessons along the way.
And she was
not
lame.
Wizard of Oz would have been powerful, and it kind of brings into question the whole Wicked thing. Is like, okay, but are they like just part of the extended universe of a dream or what? It just kind of takes out that power from a very awesome world.
Colette.
Yeah.
Oh, this one was tough because if, like, you guys know me, you don't know me.
No, we'll go with it.
I don't like films a lot. I know it's ironic.
Oh, no.
It's ironic. I find that I waste my time quite often because I walk out of a cinema saying, oh, that was a waste of my time a lot of the time. But this one was really disappointing, and I think I remember it because when I watched it, I was so hyped, and that was Now You See Me. And it's kind of really relevant now because Now You See Me 3
That's
is
a
coming out.
lie.
So
What was?
That's not what you
we
said.
went for a different answer, buddy.
Why does this
We
keep
prepped
happening
for
with
a
now?
different
You
answer.
said Breaking Dawn Part 2 in your answer.
That's the one we prepared for.
no.
Okay,
That's what it says here.
No, really, I said Now You See Me
okay.
too.
I
Do you know
What does it say?
Caleb!
You know what Caleb doesn't do, Nick? Caleb doesn't read. You know what I said?
You said Breaking Dawn Part 2.
I said,
Caleb,
no, hold on.
why
I
does
said,
Now You See Me keep sneaking up on
you know
us?
why? It was, I'll tell you why. I wrote them.
I'm finding this.
But can you read it out loud? And
Okay.
read what I said, because you know what I do?
Oh, heavens alive.
I gave Caleb explanations. explanations as for why it wouldn't. And then I'm like, but my answer is...
Okay, honestly, if she can prove that, then you don't get a point. Then we decide who wins.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, if...
Luckily,
if,
I
if
could
there's-
fight it. I could fight now.
I literally...
No,
Okay,
read the whole thing. Read the whole thing, Caleb.
the issue is you only send voice notes.
Well, then play them.
Find it. You, right there.
No,
I said
not-
Twilight is fine. You can use that.
No. I didn't read that part.
Oh, heavens
Can I tell you
alive.
what I said in my response? I said, I'll probably get judged for this, but genuinely, I really like the Twilight series coming from someone who doesn't like films. Then I was like, but actually, Now You See Me, part 2. No, part 2, just Now You See Me.
I'm willing to let you argue that if Caleb is willing to go
Yeah,
for it.
why not?
I
Let's
know
go.
it destroys
Are we
it, but...
both?
I mean, my main argument against Twilight was just that it's actually a horrible
Yeah,
film.
it's just like
but anyway,
shit,
go
yeah.
for it.
No,
Oh,
it's a terrible film.
Okay, wait.
I know, that's what I said to him.
I don't know where he
That's
pulled
Caleb,
literally-
make a call.
It's on the document.
You just said it is what it is.
Okay, but to be fair, you received the answers and you didn't contest what was written on it.
What do you mean?
Show this.
Debating. Oh my word, we're debating.
the formula.
We're debating the actual answers.
you never-
right
you
now,
never
okay?
fought that.
And not in the actual way.
I didn't see this.
Yeah. Caleb sent it.
He
No,
did.
genuine, I didn't see
Okay.
this.
Let's open this to the floor. Will we let Colette argue her point or not?
I think for good sport, but I think she shouldn't be allowed to get the point.
I agree.
Meow!
The competitive nature in me definitely agrees.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what
I'll give
happens.
it- no. And you know what, ne? I'm more than happy.
It's because you're already winning.
Yeah, you
Yeah, you are. You, at this stage, Vincent and I need points. I'm on 0. The man's on 1.
If you win by a point, did you really win? No. This
is not Fast and Furious.
That's not a winning spirit. But, okay, I'm going to go with
In
my
closing.
answer. You might need to change it anyways. Sorry, I think there was a miscommunication.
Okay,
in
go
that.
for whatever you feel.
But,
Go for whatever you feel.
no, I can't do... I just said... I will get judged and dragged to the floor if I say Twilight. Are you mad?
Yes, because I've got in my notes, judge her and drag her
Through
to
the
the floor.
mud.
Yeah.
Drag her through the mud. No. It's like one of those like guilty pleasures that I just could never not watch. Like every year.
Fast and Furious.
Right? You
Okay,
know what I
so-
mean?
so
But
what-
It's
yeah.
it's not my arguing point. Now you guys know what my heart desires. Which is Breaking Dawn Part 2. What a sad ending. But now we're bringing it back, and I won't get a point for this, but I'm still going to do my best to fight, is Now You See Me, okay? The film was great. The way they approached the film was great. Just the ebb and the flow, and it's not a 3-hour film, which is critical for me in terms of a film that's great. 3 hours, it's too long, personally. Even the good ones, 3 hours is too long. But you have, like, the stupid cop running around, stopping the magicians who are maybe even sometimes wizards, and then at the end reveals himself to Morgan Freeman in the cell, and he's the guy they've been chasing. So he's chasing himself. What the hell? Like, how boring and how predictable.
I
This
think
is
there should be
opening arguments.
There should be Vincent v. Caleb because she's speaking about Now You See Me 1 and she said 2.
No, I took myself back.
Yeah, this is chaotic. Okay,
No, I did.
Okay, please,
I said
please.
Now You
making
See
notes.
Me.
Everyone stop. Everyone stop. I'm doing too much right now. Colette, that is a great opening statement.
Okay, but
You did a
one, right?
fantastic
You're
job.
arguing 1.
Argue
Yeah,
number 1.
Now You See Me. Now
Okay.
You See Me.
Vincent, please take us home. Get back on track.
No, he
It's
hasn't even
me,
said
dude.
his answer.
Dude, I'm smelling like burning
Nepotism.
from here. I'm smelling the burning.
Just no. On this list, you started with Wizard of Oz.
He
Yes.
didn't
it's
answer.
me.
Okay, give me King Arthur. Go, Caleb.
Okay, thank you. All right, so my choice was the King Arthur from 2004. Great film, terrible ending. Now, reason why?
Thank you for summarizing that.
And fight.
Well, I just need to make sure that we're still on the same topic with you around.
Wait,
All
so
right,
you
so-
all knew each other's answers?
Yes. Did you not know that?
No. Which actually proves my point. I'm killing it.
So she doesn't get points this round. We agree.
Terrible guess, great fighter. Terrible
Alright.
preparation. Great guess.
Okay,
Caleb,
let me read you this cast, just so you guys can understand what kind of cast you're dealing with here. Rafe Stevenson, Mads Mikkelsen, Keira Knightley, Stellan Skarsgård. And this was directed by Antonio I'm going to butcher that name, Fuqua, who directed The Magnificent Seven. If you've seen it, brilliant film, great Western. The Equalizer, everyone has seen that. Awesome.
Is it the one with Owen Clyde, right? Of Clive, Owen Clive. That's the King Arthur movie you're talking about from 2004.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, because you didn't
with
mention him.
the,
He's the main
random,
character.
with the actor who plays Lancelot who needs to buy a syllable in his
Yeah, I
freaking
just
name.
wanted to make sure. Okay.
And he, on top of that, produced Bullet Train. Don't get me wrong, not an amazing film. However, it's a lot of fun. Now, can you imagine having an ending so bad that you actually become the forgettable King Arthur film when Legend of the Sword exists?
What is the bad ending?
I'm about to go into it.
Thank you.
Freaking let me finish my statement.
Let the man cook. Let the man cook.
Okay, so first of all, we have King Arthur. Now they've been building this. They built this character to die at the end to save his men. Nope, we're going to let him live because oh no, we don't have the balls to kill him off. Then, freaking Ian Griffith's, good luck pronouncing that freaking name, Lancelot. We've built him up as a character who's now going to end up trusting Guinevere. A character who, throughout the entirety of the movie, does not trust anyone, but slowly but surely grows to trust Guinevere. We're going to kill him off, because we didn't have the balls to kill off King Arthur, so we need to kill him. We need to have a major death. On top of that, Keira Knightley's Guinevere does nothing at the end. Explain that to me.
You sound so hurt, Caleb.
I love the King Arthur.
You know what it's like? It's like you're rewatching it again and you're disgusted. Like you cannot.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty much.
Okay, so I have to say, like, I agree that you've clearly fighting a terrible ending. I wouldn't know. I have never seen the movie or even heard of it.
You're proving my point.
You'd think so.
Unforgettable.
You'd think so, but it's like you forgot the great side of things. A great movie with a bad ending becomes more memorable than a plainly great
It's a
movie.
great movie.
Because a great movie with a bad ending, it's like, it's good, and it gets like canonicized or whatever by, oh, you know that good movie with the bad ending? Like, the fact that it's forgettable means the ending wasn't that bad and the movie wasn't that great.
Okay. However, it's a great movie. The acting is phenomenal. That cast in any movie, let's be honest here, is a phenomenal cast. The music is awesome. It sets the scene of ancient Rome very well. I'm just hearing slurping in my ear. On top of that, the camera work is, speaking as someone who's done the film industry thing, it is impeccable, ultimately. So it's not that the rest of the movie is bad. It's just the ending has gotten so bad that, as I said, Legend of the Sword exists, and that's the forgettable King Arthur film. However, going into Wizard of Oz, that scene was so iconic that it's now become a cliche. It was not cliche when it happened. Would you not say that's wouldn't you say to its core that's a bad ending?
No, because not just cliche. It's not just cliche. It's a bad ending.
It was not a cliche when it came out.
No, but I'm not saying it's a cliche. I don't think it's the cliche that makes it bad. It's bad. Like you don't hate dog shit because you've had too much of it.
You should just hate dog shit in
If it
general.
becomes a cliche, it's ultimately because it works.
No, but I'm not saying it's the cliche that makes it bad. I think
wraps
it's dog
up
shit
the
from the
story
start.
in a perfect way because
I
ultimately,
don't
you know
think
what?
cliches are always good though. Cliche, it's like a stereotype. It works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. It just could be misplaced. I think that was
However,
a bad ending.
I'm happy to
But
say
it's
we
like-
all have bad endings.
Yeah, we all have bad
let's fight
endings.
great movie. And by far I win that. So if we all say cool,
Who said?
bad ending.
Who said?
If we all agree,
said?
bad ending.
Vincent, make this your final argument.
We all clearly have bad endings. I'll have to take your word for it. I'm not watching that.
Never seen it.
Because by
Go watch it. Really good film.
and then
Shit
switch
ending.
it off at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I agree on that one. The moment that they go into the fight, just switch it off.
Wait,
No,
the
I'll-
Wizard of Oz
I
is
love
from
all of you so much.
1950s.
Shut up and let Vincent
Okay.
talk.
So the issue, I'll throw a little bit of Now You See Me there. Now You See Me is never a great film. It's good
Yeah.
and then bad. So let's not even argue why the ending's
Why
bad.
are
I
you
do
coming at me?
understand
I'm
that.
not even getting
no,
your points
because I
here.
just have to.
You started arguing, so you
I
attacked me.
just wanted to feel involved.
Oh, okay. Go
I
for
just
it,
wanted
Vincent.
to feel included. Don't worry about
Get
me.
off the leash.
Okay.
And go.
I don't think I think I have to get a point for this one because simply King Arthur was never great. It was never good. It was forgettable, and I think you argued more for why the movie's bad in general than just the ending. And on top of that, I mean, good camera work, good music, and good actors is like 70% of all movies. My movie brought color to people who thought in black and white. And then it ends in
I'll let you speak soon. Colette, give me your final thoughts and feelings.
Oh no, I don't get no points. I really.
Who
hope-
said that?
No.
I'm the host.
I'm saying.
That she's far enough ahead.
I think both your guys' arguments are right because both your endings suck, and that's what matters. Thank you.
Okay. Caleb.
So your only real point when it came to it is that it woke up and was all a dream. However, you're not taking into account the actual message behind it, which is ultimately family. Yes, I'm going to do the Fast and Furious thing. It's
Wait,
showing
how?
the... Well, who did
He's
you wake
getting
up
there.
to?
He's getting there. Let him say his final arguments. I'm sorry, this round is pissing me off.
I mean, ultimately, who are the people that she ends up interacting with the whole time throughout the film? It's her family.
Because she interacts with them.
No,
not a point.
also she's getting to the point where she ends up going home and she wakes up and she's
The
still
movie's
there.
about a bed. Because what does she wake up in?
Isn't it my turn?
It is.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Just checking.
The Caleb couch has spoken.
And as I said, ultimately, you know what? Yes, okay, I can understand it's not a great ending, but it's not a terrible one. While having a good film that becomes forgettable, which you yourself have said, you're claiming that my movie is bad without even knowing it.
Tough.
Look, I believe you. I believe you.
I'm so happy to do this. Okay.
There is no escape.
Yeah, but no, apparently.
For Caleb, definitely.
Okay. So, the real question was, whose fault was it, Caleb or Colette's? No, I'm joking.
It could be both.
Okay, so I will actually say this. For being unprepared, Colette had an amazing opening statement. And if you kept fighting, I would have given you a point. But, no, listen.
She cheated.
She technically
by
cheated,
mistake.
but also...
It's his fault. It's Caleb's fault, yeah.
but I will check my WhatsApps. but at the end of the day, you didn't have a final conclusion at all. Now, someone who had a great final conclusion was Vincent. And I think Vincent also had a very, very strong start. I felt like it meandered in the middle. Where I think Caleb did a fantastic job, and you also did lean into this, but building up the fact that the film started out so well. You gave us character development, you explained plot points, you gave us everything that really elevated this film. You just told us it was a great film. I felt like I was watching this man die all over again.
I did too. I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie. I felt
And
like Caleb was.
I have
watching
said
the
on
film.
multiple occasions that for me it's not necessarily always the answer, and I think Vincent has the right answer. But we have said multiple times that it's the people who fight the most ferociously. I felt scared sitting next to this man. And so
you're gonna-
please don't get more ferocious. This doesn't permission for you to be more ferocious. But I will give the point to Caleb.
I scored a freaking point! Oh, let's go.
So it's 1-1-2.
1-1-2.
There was a
So
round.
we need to make sure she doesn't get the other point.
Oh, whoa! You don't know my argument for this one, and actually,
We
no, you don't know my argument.
yes,
you know my answer.
Do you know ours?
Yes.
But you said
Wait, but you said you didn't.
I just look now.
I think we found who miscommunicated.
I just look now.
I will also like to say that the day Colette and I were talking, she was sick.
I was shitting my brains out while writing these things.
I was at work.
I'm just trying to defend myself. It's called throwing a woman under the bus.
Would you
It's
like?
so tough,
should I move
actually.
out of the way and then you can go for it?
Question 5.
Question 5.
I'm so excited for this question.
I'm so confused why. Okay.
I'll explain.
We will take it
I'm
now.
excited to see what you're going to say.
Thank you.
We finally got to see Channing Tatum play the role of Gambit in 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine. And although he'd been fighting for the role for almost a decade, some fans were put off by his performance, feeling he just didn't fit the role. It is these fans who ask you who should have played Gambit. Colette, you can start.
So, and I know it's going to be controversial, but I say this because DC MCU genre being a genre of its own, there are a lot of misses, and I think they've done a great job covering their PR messes in terms of diversity, and then just like color washing or like building characters, doing this and doing that, but actually having very bad stories. Whereas like the comic of Gambit, he's a damn cool guy. And if I just used to imagine reading the comics and thinking of what Gambit looked like, before I heard all the mixed mashes of accents and all of that, I don't know, he was a Hispanic, sexy, tall dude in my mind, and thus this is what I'm doubling down on. And I think Michael Cimino, which isn't a very popular guy, but I think this would actually work in their favor, because your guys' options that you'll say, we know those faces, we've seen them quite often. Why not give someone new, someone who's actually showing diversity, who does work for Disney actually, and give him a chance to play in a role in a character that hasn't been like predisposed by everyone's nonsensicalities over the years. Great that Channing, honestly, I would say give it to Channing. You know? Like if you really want it, give it to him.
We don't.
We
don't.
Exactly.
It was a lot of fun.
I think like the studios need new blood. They need to mix things up and not just put color in just based on the fact that they have to have diversity. But Gambit in himself had, I think, historically a Cajun French kind of accent. So it shows that he is cultural. He's Oriental to some degree. So
Yeah,
give
of
him.
color is any color.
Well, isn't that so? Right? But no, that is wrong.
Sorry, I apologize for interrupting.
But just to press in and lean on that point is, if you're going to go that route and if you're going to take a risk on a young guy who isn't not new to Disney, but also he comes with different audiences. Just because he isn't popular in mainstream, he's popular with young kids. He's popular in that sense. So I feel like bringing in Michael Cimino will bring in fresh blood for the studio, but also a new audience. And I think he's a great actor if we just jacked him up. Boom.
Caleb.
Okay.
I mean, Caleb.
Thank you. Thank you, Caleb. Okay, my choice was Aaron Taylor Johnson. Now, we have seen him as a good actor. Ultimately, we have seen him do superheroes before. Do not get me wrong. I think Craven was a horrible film. However, we have seen...
Still is.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? However, that ultimately to me is because we haven't seen him in a role that is designed for him. Now, as the X-Men fan, I did choose my shirt for a reason. Ultimately, Gambit needs to come in and be, well, able to take a punch and able to dish one out, as well as the fact that, and you might have to bleep this out, he needs to be, best way to describe it, panty dropper. He talks, this man can talk the talk, ultimately. Which, there's one name that I do otherwise agree with otherwise, but specifically the Aaron Taylor Johnson, we've seen him in Kick-Ass, he can act. We've seen him in Bullet Train, in that he's probably the best part of the entire film. As well as, the man looks like he can take a punch. Gambit is somebody who goes toe-to-toe with Wolverine. And if he can't take a punch, that's not Gambit. As well as the accents, we've seen him put on an accent, he can do an accent.
Yes.
Okay, so I decided to really dig in and settle on the hill of let's focus on the French aspect of Gambit, because my biggest problem with, no, it's not my biggest, but one of my biggest problems with Channing Tatum as Gambit is the laughable Cajun accent he did. That was played off as a joke, which was very funny. I don't want Gambit as a joke character. I think he's one of the best X-Men characters, like legit, and I want him done right. So I went down a little rabbit hole of who can speak French, and the person on that list that fit the role almost perfectly, when I saw it, I was like, I've never considered that, but it works, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And he is from a Canadian background where he's fluent in French, so he fully pulls that side of things off. But on top of that, there was a time where a brilliant director looked at him and said, a staff-swinging masked acrobat? He could play that role. That brilliant man was Christopher Nolan. Unfortunately, he never got to don the cape of Robin or Nightwing or whatever his name is. But but I think he should have the opportunity to play Gambit. I'm also imagining a world, because I agree that yes, maybe a younger Gambit would have been an interesting take, but I'm imagining a world like Avengers Doomsday now, where all these old X-Men, which I don't agree with them, they shouldn't have done that, but they're bringing all this old X-Men back again. And Channing Tatum, along with those group of people, have been confirmed for the cast. So I'm assuming he's going to interact with him in that way. So cool, let's just swap him out for an actor who is a little bit older, not much older, but I think he's in his early 40s. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt then fits that. He's got the leanness, he's not too bulky, and he's a smooth talker. He's got that, I mean, when he played the lead in Treasure Planet, he had that quick-talking, bad boy attitude that fits well. I think he'd be perfect for the role.
Fight.
Okay, addressing Michael Cimino. Watch some of his films. While he's young, he is an untested actor. And the problem right now is that, as you stated, they're bringing back the old X-Men. All those old X-Men are classic actors. And
But you see-
let me finish my point. Ultimately, he's going to stand out if he goes up against someone like Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart, who are phenomenal actors in their own rights. I'm sorry, they are going down in the Hall of Fame of probably some of the greatest actors of all time.
But I think the
He
point
will
being,
stand out even more. I agree. Give him
let
give him.
stand out.
No,
Studios
not
do
in a
that.
good way.
No.
Not in a
but
good
you
way.
don't know that.
Not-
The point, DC in itself has good actors that suck in those roles. You've put not Robert Pattinson. That's
That's shovel-face, but yes.
no. But the point I'm trying to make is just being a well-versed, well-known actor doesn't mean you're great for that role. And they've put actors in roles that you think they'd be great in, but actually have just poorly executed.
Here's my
So
issue:
why
is
not
ultimately
bring someone
he's
new?
an untested actor in a role that is going to be front and center, and he will stand out even worse. Go watch the Hercules movie with Dwayne Johnson when he's acting alongside Ian McShane, and the moment Ian McShane says a line, Dwayne Johnson stands there.
But
Well, you're presuming that he has no talent, and I think
I
that-
don't say.
But I'm saying I think
he is
that's-
untested, and he's been only
Then-
in B
then test- no,
films.
test him.
In B-list films. Give him a smaller role. I agree. Give him a chance.
I think you know why I disagree with that, because even as it stands, DC is going down.
That's
also
not
another
DC.
Marvel.
X-Men is not DC. I'm
Sorry,
just going to
Marvel.
establish that.
Going down, or studio as a whole is going down a rabbit hole, irrespective of who takes on the role. Aaron Taylor Johnson, prime example. Craven. I thought when I saw him as Craven, I was like, damn, this man looks sexy. Damn, this man's gonna do some. No, he didn't. That was.
And doesn't that go
wasn't,
against-
that wasn't
No,
him.
no,
That was
but-
the writing, ultimate.
No, exactly. But isn't that the point? Is Michael
No.
going to write his own script?
No,
Is
that's not the point.
No, but wait,
However-
is Michael writing his
however,
own
you
script?
can't make
No,
up
he
for talent.
isn't.
Yeah.
No,
Then
no,
addressing
you
Joseph
can't make up for
Gordon-Levitt.
talent.
I
Aaron
reckon-
Taylor Johnson at the moment is.
Okay, go first, then I'll jump in.
I want to say something.
And then, but
On top of So,
can I tell you why I don't believe?
yeah, go for it, and then I'm going to
It's
respond.
Joseph.
Can
no?
you
Yeah,
get
Joseph
two
Gordon.
sentences?
I'll address
Joseph, I can't, because even if you look at a Google image now, he is aging terribly, and also he's short. If you're talking about lean, great. If we're talking about Gambit, he is tall, but also he isn't old. And I feel like that's what we're missing, is you guys are bringing in older men to play a young, vibrant, panty dropper character, and then you're going to bring Mr. Commissioner Jordan in to play Gambit.
So what I'm going to
You
say
paid Dick
is,
Grayson. We'll go with that.
what I'm going to say is I am choosing to imagine a world where he replaces the character of Channing Tatum in those movies, and Channing Tatum is
Make this
not
your final
younger than
argument
him.
as well.
So what I will say on this is the first time I get to speak since my opening.
It's been very loud and very long.
Okay, so I'll address both, and then
welcome
I'll
to
finish
my
with-
life for the last hour.
So with the issue with Caleb's is the truth is, of
He
course,
says this often to me as well.
Of course, he would be a good Gambit. Goes without saying, but it is automatically disqualified by, and you have to take this into consideration, because we're not casting this in a bubble. We're considering everything, and for that point, he played, like you said, Craven, Quicksilver, Kick-Ass. You want to put a fourth superhero on that list, and never mind that, a third one as a Marvel hero. Yes, the other one was an MCU, but I'm like, let's chill at some point. Let's just like count our losses. He was wasted. The truth is, he was wasted, but you're not going to rectify that by throwing him into a movie that's whole premise is different universes coming together. Everyone's going to be like, why is Craven looking funny? So you can't now, as his first appearance in Doomsday, use an actor who's played a million other superheroes. The issue with Michael Cimino is that you can't just put a Spanish guy as Gambit. Gambit's most iconic thing is not his cards.
Well,
it's
I'm not saying
nothing.
he's just
It's-
putting him because he's Spanish.
No, but the thing is, he is Spanish. That's like saying you cast Cynthia Erivo, which they're probably considering as we
Well,
speak.
to be fair.
But let me finish. So the point is, that is what he is. Whether he's good or not, I'm not going to speak for that because I don't know. But he just doesn't fit the role. He isn't Gambit, and Gambit is known as a French-speaking card-playing con man. This guy is not a French-speaking.
Neither was Channing Tatum. Yes, he says occasion accent.
Okay,
But
Colette,
he's
make
not
this your final
Spanish.
point.
He's not
Colette,
Spanish.
make your final point.
And then finally on
Let him
Joseph,
finish.
on Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it doesn't matter that he's old, like I said, because he's the same age as Channing Tatum. And the whole thing with Gambit's whole suit covers his entire body except this part. So unlike Channing Tatum, whose little porky pig cheeks stuck out from the suit, he's a lean guy with a skinny face that suits the vibe that he has to go for. And like I said, if Christopher Nolan deems him fit as a staff-swinging vigilante, then why shouldn't he play one?
Because Christopher Nolan isn't God. And on my point, with that, I disagree on both ends. I do agree with Vincent saying that we've seen Aaron in a lot of things, and also it just having bad scripting doesn't fix a great actor, and thus having Michael Cimino doesn't have any less pros or cons to bringing him in. Take a chance with him. It's not like studio's doing well anyways with the array of Chris Pratts and your whoever's. As it stands, give him a chance.
I haven't
He's
gone.
tall,
no, I'm just
he's tall,
holding him.
lean. He already works for studio in a certain way, and I feel like, again, to diversify the space, just bringing a French-speaking person who looks old, if we're going to talk about Gambit, also, again, it is what it is. Take a chance, take a risk. It will make sense.
Okay. My points, quick and easy. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Man is great. Doesn't look like he can take a punch, and I'd prefer him as Forge, to be honest. Then Michael Cimino, untested. He's going to be acting alongside Elizabethan actors who are going to make him stand out if he fails. We know that Aaron Taylor-Johnson can act, and yes, okay, he's been in quite a few films. However, he's not been given a role that works for him. And to address your comment, good writing doesn't fix bad acting.
Okay, Caleb, who are you fighting?
I wasn't fighting anyone. I'm just stating.
You could have just who are you fighting, Caleb?
I'm not fighting anyone. I was
Whoa.
trying to make it quickly so he could slam on Vader.
I'm going to start sneaking Elizabethan into every argument. I like it.
Sorry, Shakespearean. If we
No, but I like Elizabethan.
If we're getting technical, Shakespearean.
I think
Wrong
in
Michael
this,
C. It should have been Michael Cera, obviously. Not Michael Cimino.
that was the worst joke, but I appreciate that you made it because it was funny. But it was
That
still
went
bad.
right-
No one
it
laughed.
literally went
I thought it was
past my
funny.
head.
It's fine.
Nine times out of 10 times.
past
Who
my
do you
head.
think edits these episodes? You're going to hear...
9 out of 10 times, Vincent's jokes are always funny. Except for the 10th time, which is extra funny.
Which is now. Which is now.
Okay, so since you guys have figured out when I use gendered language, Colette, she is not winning this one because
That's
your
okay.
greatest point was also the greatest point against you, which is give him a chance. The question was who should we give the best chance to?
Okay, great.
I admire your
And
passion.
it's not Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I'm just saying, Caleb, I love you, but no.
Thank you for telling me my thoughts and feelings. She does this often.
I do it
Don't
often.
spite her by choosing him.
I'll take
I will also say, we're my fellow Caleb Couch compadre. I really thought hard on another word that started with C. We as the Caleb Couch couple I would like to say you did a fantastic job of building up Aaron Taylor-Johnson as why he is a great actor who could do great in physical roles. And I really enjoyed that. I thought you raised brilliant points. But the point wasn't just who does a great action star. And you leaned a little bit too heavy into that, but you didn't highlight why he'd be great as specifically Gambit. And I think that's where I'm going to give the point to Vincent, because Vincent really did start to look at Gambit as a character and why Joseph... And this is the crazy thing. I would have never chosen your answer.
would have
and
chosen
you know that.
him, I know.
I would have chosen you. But also, I think what really just hammered in the nails in your coffin was the fact that he has been Quicksilver, he has been Kick-Ass, and it's the fact specifically that he was Quicksilver in the MCU. And I hate, and everyone knows this, I hate the multiverse thing where everyone can just come in as somebody else. It's the big reason why I don't like Robert Downey Jr. as well coming back. So
Sorry, Caleb.
this was, there has to be a loser, and if there was ever an episode where I wouldn't know who I would actually want the loser to be, it's this one, because all of you fought brilliantly.
You say that with such conviction.
I would like to
you
just propose
want
the
me to be
idea
a
Joseph
loser?
Gordon-Levitt.
There are times...
But isn't Forge a American Indian character?
It depends on take.
Then we could just as well cast Michael Samina.
No, but that man doesn't look like he can take a punch.
He's shiny. He's sexy. I promise.
Okay, so speed round showdown between Vincent and Colette. Okay, let me explain the rules quickly. I will ask you a question. Answers are first come, first serve. If you can't give us an answer, you forfeit the point. You will have 20 seconds each for your initial argument, followed by 15-second rebuttals each.
No interrupting when this.
No, this is purely one for one. A winner will be decided after the rebuttals. The overall winner of plot armor will be the contestants with an unbeatable amount of points. Moving on to this, you both have 2 points, so that basically negates itself. You guys will be competing for the best out of 5 speed round questions.
So first to 3, essentially.
First to 3 wins. How this goes, I do not judge this myself. Caleb and I will judge the answers together. If we can't agree, it goes to the people in the studio. You guys then get to choose who wins.
More like the studio apartment.
More like this, yeah. Filmed in front of a studio apartment.
Studio apartment audience.
This is almost like a really unfair advantage on Vincent's side because he's done this like 5 times already.
Yeah, we are acknowledging.
I'll give
But I'm
my
kind of
first.
shouting for you to win at this stage, so Vincent takes an L on our episode.
Okay. What I will also say to this, if there are any, the thing about speed rounds is there are trick questions as well. You will be warned if there is a trick to the question before it happens. They don't always happen, but sometimes they sneak in. This is going to be the first question. Remember, first come, first serve. If you do not give me an answer within 5 seconds of the other person giving an answer, you will forfeit that point. The first question is, which actor best deserves a comeback?
Oh, damn. Crap. Come back. Well, I want to say Demi Moore, but she is back. So,
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. Okay, Colette, you have 5 seconds.
deserves it. Mm-hmm. It is Demi Moore.
Okay, cool.
It is Demi Moore.
Okay.
That's good, okay.
Vincent, you start. You have 20 seconds and go.
The problem with Mark Wahlberg is he was typecast, especially about 10 years ago, and I think when he starred in the 4th Transformers movie, people really didn't like him in that, also in The Happening, and it killed his career. But I think if you take him more into like an older, more mature Sylvester Stallone type role, where you give him the meaty roles, where he's the boxer, the disgruntled divorce guy, like just fun. No, that's not
Stop! I'm glad you think divorce is fun, Vincent. Okay, Colette.
I say Demi because I think the last Oscar round showed that she can act, she can come back, and I feel like if we give her more roles that suit her age, actually, because she was going up against Mickey, who won the Oscar, I feel like in the appropriate role, she will have a resurgence of note. I mean, we're seeing it with Nicole Kidman, so if you just give her the right role with the right script,
Time.
she'll make it.
Vincent, you have 15 seconds and go.
Okay, I think her name is Margaret Qualley. I think she actually does a better job in the movie referencing the substance than Demi Moore does. And Demi Moore does a fine performance, but for her to have a true comeback, you need to see what she's going to do moving forward. And I think this was a one-hit older wonder situation.
Stop.
But that's exactly why I'm saying Demi Moore.
Whoa. Is that are you rebutting
I'm
now?
rebutting. Exactly that. The film didn't show exactly what she could do, thus give her a role that she can perform and write for Demi, and her comeback will be absolutely astronomical. Mark Wahlberg is creating restaurants, making burgers. No one actually cares about him anymore, so he's irrelevant.
Stop. I learned something new about Mark Wahlberg today.
I'm impressed that you know that about his life.
Damn. Well done.
I do.
Okay, cool. And Caleb, who do you think won that one?
This is a rough one because love Mark Wahlberg and I really, really wanted you to win. But Colette gave evidence to her argument, so I kind of have to give it to Colette.
I'm so sorry it pains you, Caleb, to give it to me.
I like Mark Wahlberg.
I do
Don't get
too.
me wrong, not a great actor.
Yeah.
But he's a fun guy to watch.
I didn't know Mark Wahlberg was gone. I still love him. I will give it to Vincent, which means it'll be open up to the audience. But I didn't know he was gone in the first place. So thank you for making me aware of that. And thank you for making me aware that he makes hamburgers now. Okay, audience. Well, people in the background. Jeffrey. Suela.
Not my phone!
I was like, you.
My Goldberg, is that allowed?
Oh, you're the tiebreaker. Okay, damn.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vincent gets that one.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I'm also wondering, he's making burgers, he's not coming back.
Okay, I'll take
He's
it.
fine.
Okay, Vincent gets the first point. Now, this question only has one right answer, depending on which. This is the trick. There is no rebutting this. You are either right or wrong. Okay. So, take your time. You have 5 seconds to think about it, then you have to go. Okay. What is the oldest movie? Out of the two that you guys can think of.
The Great Train Robbery.
Is it a feature-length film?
If it's not, I lose. Google. Say anything.
Say the oldest movie.
Hollywood.
Honestly, fact check it. Let's see.
Can we Google?
Yes.
Okay.
I have
Okay,
no
first we
idea.
will go with
The Great Train Robbery.
the Great Train Robbery.
I think that was a good pull. That's like one
That
of
was
the
no,
first.
that was a brilliant pull. That was a brilliant pull.
I've literally got who's that oak who plays in Dirty something?
Dirty Johnson.
Harry. No, Dirty Harry.
No, Dirty Harry.
That would've been a
but
good answer.
his era, not that film.
Yeah.
A
His
well-known
era.
1963 film heist. Okay, cool. So 1963.
Oh, flip. I thought it was way older than
No, it's 1963, the same year as Doctor Who.
Oh, that's
Okay,
not
well,
old.
well.
That's
Now we will find out if there is a
Hollywood.
movie called Hollywood.
I will laugh my head
well,
off.
if I
That would be a brilliant guess, and none of us would have seen it coming.
There are a few movies, most recently being 2020.
And later and earlier.
I am checking now. This is difficult because there's a lot. There's a
Yeah,
lot.
because also googling Hollywood.
1973. So that's the oldest I can find.
Okay, I'll help. I'll help you. Let's see what ChatGPT said.
That is crazy. The fact that it exists, fine, great. Like
Okay.
1980.
There is a silent feature-length film called Hollywood, released in 1923.
Damn.
have that.
Well done,
Let's
Colette.
pretend you
That's-
did that
Oh
one.
my word!
That's crazy. Can I actually see? I want to see if that would have beaten what
You
I
know,
would have
like,
said.
having intuition is the craziest thing.
I would have
Random
said.
guess Gets it on point.
I would have said Nosferatu,
Oh, I think that's 1990.
and that's 1922.
Okay.
So Hollywood is older.
1 year newer. Okay, that's 1-1.
Okay, cool. So that's 1-1, and yo, the speed rides have been crazy today, guys. Okay,
Oh, crazy.
this one can't happen like that. You can't just guess this. Okay, what is the most iconic clothing item from a movie?
Diesel.
What? Okay.
Clothing
No.
item.
Okay.
Yes.
Darth Vader's outfit.
Oh, clothing, not
Clothing
Well,
item.
sorry.
Item.
Can I-
Clothing
helmet.
item.
Darth Vader's helmet.
I appreciate that you were specific.
Thank you. Cape.
Which cape?
Superman.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. And Vincent, take it away.
Okay, the brilliant thing about Darth Vader's helmet is it's actually stylized after the Nazi helmets, which means there's thought put into it, and there's a reason where you look at him and you see a Nazi. That's why even with the way that the stormtroopers look, it's a slight version of that, but his is closest because you're supposed to see him and think pure evil. And his helmet, more than anything else about him, is the reason you think, why do I think evil when I see
Stop.
this guy?
That's so great.
Colette, you can go in 3,
I'm going to
2,
err on
1.
positivity because when people see a cape, they think superhero, which gives them positivity, makes them feel good. And also, capes being Superman gives hope to young people and older people. More iconic than Darth Vader. No one even knows that's the point. So Superman. What are you using my time?
Go.
So Superman, in my opinion, is more iconic, more recognizable, and also relatable in all ages. Hence the cape.
Okay, Tom. Vincent.
Superman isn't the only person that wears a cape. So he's not even the first, and there's a million superheroes with capes, and the fact that it's arguable is the one thing. The only person that wears helmets like Darth Vader is the stormtroopers, and it makes sense because they is his underlings, but his is the ultimate one.
Cool.
15 seconds, go.
My point was positive. The cape is a positive symbol. It's a symbol of hope. Just because a lot of people wear capes, but people associate Superman with the cape, more iconically speaking. So yes, he might have the helmet. It might be evil.
The reason I was picking him up as well is he does have a cape.
That's fine.
Again,
I will give this point to Vincent. Caleb?
I really wanted Superman to win.
this keeps happening.
Vader has to take it. Ultimately, it came down to the fact that it wasn't discussed on what's more positive, it was more iconic, and there wasn't really any facts backing up the Superman claim. You could have been talking about Batman for all we know.
I wanted to say, I've already got the point, it seems. So I wanted to say Caped Crusader, because that's Batman, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the
But you
iconic
know-
name, and also I wish I said, and Darth Vader has a cape, but I didn't.
Do you like Marvel and DC stuff? Care less about. Hence why I said when I answered Gambit, I don't care. Literally what I said. That's what I said.
The issue with Colette is she's better than most people even when she doesn't.
There you go. Most
Okay.
people, not all. So
Next
it's
question.
2-1, right?
It's 2-1 to
So
Vincent.
if I take this, I win.
If Vincent gets this answer, he wins. What is the worst live-action anime adaptation?
Oh, where do you start?
Dragon Ball Z Evolution. It's Dragon Ball Evolution, or whatever that one.
It's Dragon Ball Evolution. It's so terrible. But also Snow White currently
No,
speaking.
No,
Anime.
anime.
Like
Anime.
animation.
Japanese.
Anime.
Anime.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would agree.
No, give us a different one. Give us a different one. Come on, Colette. No.
Okay, come on.
No, that's the most
I can't, no, but
anticlimactic.
that's the thing. I can't disagree with him because as soon as he said it, I went back. I got transported to 2014, and I was like, oh, and it's true.
Okay.
I made you work.
Yeah, say the thing.
Point and then just move on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode's main character is Vincent.
This is getting bad because that's the third time in a row. I'll retire for a little bit.
Well done, Vincent.
Thank you.
Colette,
not
I really
rigged.
had hopes for you, hey?
No, genuine. That was a great answer. He just said it first. Why must I lie?
I'm an honorable being.
I'm an honorable person. Like, I'll take the L. That was... Damn.
Okay, well, Colette, while you're still talking, do you want to just shout yourself out, let the people at home know what you do get up to, and just...
Yeah, what I don't get up to is watching Marvel and DC films, if anybody knows. But they're not terrible. They just suck most of the time. But yeah, I'm a content producer. I'm a presenter. And yeah, you can find my stuff in the Sunday Times. I have an entertainment show. So you find me at King Colette or King_Colette.
We'll show them.
And then, Caleb, let us know a little bit more about yourself and what you're getting up to.
So I do voiceover work. I don't know what my social media handles are because I don't use them.
That's fair.
Possibly Caleb might have to check. But yeah, no, mainly do voiceover work. Do some assistant director on the side. Yeah.
I think Caleb should take on a spokesperson job like in Parliament of sorts. Because if I had to go against Caleb in like a real life setting, not that this is a fake setting, I wouldn't make it.
For the longest time, I was like, this
I will
Caleb
take
would
that a
actually-
huge compliment.
Caleb.
Caleb, I'm going to give you such a niche thing you're not going to necessarily get, but go research it at home. You give me Zeus energy from Epic the Musical. Please go listen to it.
Oh, yes.
A song called...
Yes.
I've listened to it.
Yeah, a song
Yes,
called
I
Thun-
appreciate that.
I really love... It's my favorite musical. You sound like you should sing Thunderbringer from that musical. All I'm saying.
I don't think I've heard that song.
Just go listen.
I
It's
appreciate
you
it. Thank you.
in music.
I should have known you weren't...
compliment us now.
And I'm all...
No pressure, immediately.
No, I'm joking.
Who in Epic the Musical do I sound like?
You sound like this life is amazing.
Penelope. Oh, no.
Freaking Polyphemus. I don't know.
I should have known you were not talking about me because there is no way that when we interact with one another, I'm the
you don't
intimidating
scare
one.
me.
No.
You don't scare me.
Bringing this
End this now.
bringing this episode to a chaotic close, because this was by far the most chaotic episode we've ever had. I want to say a huge thank you
Yeah,
to
it's fine.
Tibbadine, who
Thank you.
my favorite flavor so far. Like This was
grape.
Really good.
yeah.
It
This
was really
it's
good.
grape. Like
I need more.
I don't
fantastic.
know what your other flavors taste like, but this is great.
And then I also just really want to thank JJ Arts who drew sketches back there. Can you point them at the camera so people can know we're not making them up? So we like to give these sketches to people who break their plot armor virginity, and we are glad that we got to enjoy that experience with you.
It's as awkward when he says it in person as it is now.
And I would obviously just love to thank God for making this an absolute reality. We've said this so many times, but there is no way we'd be able to do this episode without His provision. So thank you so much to God, and then thank you for those of you who are watching this at home, because you guys and your engagements really inspires us to keep going. So thank you so much, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.